G'day everyone and welcome. A special edition of Talktober's Friday sessions. That's what this is all about. We're speaking to some really influential people over the next couple of weeks and talking about their experience with talking, which of course is what Talktober is all about. And I'll be doing that with Conscious Conversations. And Maritza will be having a chat to our people as well and firing some questions at them. G'day to you, Maritza.
Hey, Tony, thank you for having us. We are pleased to be here and always supporting the mission that you guys have at the Male Hug.
It's fantastic to have you on board. And of course, for those people who don't know about the Male Hug and Talktober itself, the Male Hug effectively is a men's health organisation that really focuses its work on talking. We know that men are really bad talkers in general, and they like to talk about a whole lot of different stuff like the footy and cricket and going to the pub and all that and having a bet. But when it comes to talking about your problems, men really seem to hold that back. So the Male Hug and through Talktober is really set to encourage that. And Talktober is all about getting men to call a mate a day, every day for the month of October, to have a chat, catch up, and basically say good day and find out what's happening in their life and talk about what's happening in yours. And I know a man that spoke a fair bit about what was happening in his life a few years ago when he went through a really bad health scare. He is a good mate of mine. You can hear him on Radio 3AW down here in Melbourne with his good mate David Swartzy-Ox when they present their sports program on a Saturday and Sunday evening. And that is Mark Allen, former professional golfer, joins us for a chat. G'day, Mark.
G'day, Tony. G'day, ladies. Thanks for having me on. I participated in Talktober last year. I think the Male Hug is a sensational thing to get up and running for so many men right around the country. And I'm really proud to be part of it again this year.
We're really proud to have you around as well, mate. And thank you once again for being involved. Ladies, I'm going to throw it open to you to fire some questions off at Mark.
Wonderful. Thanks, Mark, for being here. Now, Conscious Conversations too is very aligned to what the Male Hug is all about. We are all about sparking conversations within our community. So I'm so happy to be here with you to have these open conversations and I suppose let men have the ability to feel as though they can talk openly without being shamed. So thanks for being here. It's awesome to be in your company.
Like a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. Look, a little bit of my journey last year. Well, a couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, bowel cancer. At the very start of it, we were very scared. We thought the secondary in my lungs, this bowel cancer came up, went right through my body, ended up in my lungs. We thought that was a little bit, well, the doctors said it was inoperable at the start. Luckily, we had a thoracic surgeon that had a look at the pictures of it. And he thought he could get it. He went in there 3 days later and everything's been on the up ever since. Now, I can tell you this, my doctors at the start, they said, don't tell anybody, don't tell your kids, don't tell the soul. And I thought that was wonderful advice. Looking back at the moment, I thought that was great. But when we did tell people, and when it came out in the media and when it was on the news, the people who were calling me, some folks that I didn't think would call me, to tell you the truth, when they were calling me and wishing me well, the opportunity to speak after holding it down for so long, it was like a pressure valve just completely going off. And look, my father and my grandfather, they came from the old school where you just push it down, push it down, just put on a brave face, just get on with business, be a man about it, lead your family, all that sort of stuff. In a way, that's great stuff. But in 2021, things have changed a little bit. You can still be a leader in your family. You can still be resolute. But when there's an opportunity to talk about how you're feeling, I think in 2021, it's a magnificent thing to do if you're a man. And, I'm getting emotional talking about it now, and it's emotion with a smile on my face because when after the initial calls to say, how are you going? You're going to be all right. You're going to get through it. All those, about 12 months down, 18 months after the initial diagnosis, things were starting to look up. And every once in a while, someone special would call, and I don't want to drop names, so I won't. That was great. But when my friends called and they were saying, we thought you were in a bit of trouble there, mate, and finally. And then I got just to tell them a little bit of what was going on. I think that got to a point in my healing process. It was the icing on the cake. I was lucky I had the best doctors and the best surgeons in the business, and what they were telling me to do, I'll never forget. But the icing on the cake, like I said, was actually talking to friends, them giving me the opportunity to talk about what I went through. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget that experience.
Yeah, I mean, it is such a great tool, and it's something that we've all got there. And I love that we're now teaching this to the younger generation. Like you said earlier, as a man, when you're growing up, especially in the generation that you were raised in, they were taught just to keep it all down and not talk, not talk about their emotions and their feelings. You've got a son, I believe. Are you teaching him to speak openly from a young age?
Amazingly enough, it comes quite natural to the kids coming through. It really does. And, I'm very proud of him. Sometimes my instinct is to want to toughen him up, and, it's just not the way of the world these days, and thankfully so. And, I think now, Tony and I, we're in our 50s. You're in your 50s, aren't you, Tony?
Yeah.
We're in our 50s. I think now there's a kind of a place in our heart that looks at women, and women have been very good at talking about this sort of stuff for a long time. There's a place in our hearts we go, wow, why did it take so long? Why did it take so long? And I guess, you mentioned it. Growing up, it was something that I admired in my father, how tough he was, how strong he was. And, he told me stories about his grandfather and how tough and strong his was. And of course, growing up, you just want to be tough and strong like them. But I think in 2021, we've found a way where you can be tough and strong, but there is a time to speak with your friends, and they're the important ones, not the other guys, like I was talking about. That was nice that they called. But when the opportunity came to talk with my circle of very close friends, well, I look back on those times as the real strength in overcoming what I've now overcome.
I think we are redefining what strong means, because strong to me means the ability to be able to have these conversations and push against the grain of what is considered normal. So that's what I consider strong. And that's what I think that the collective is starting to see, being open, being authentic with your feelings and not hiding away. Now, I mean, we're still going through pretty tough times here. You've recovered from your illness, and that's fantastic. But all of us right now are all experiencing some type of challenge, and it's tough. It's pretty tough. So I wanted to just check in with you and ask, how are you really doing at the moment with all that we're being faced with?
Well, let's see. I'll give you just a little bit of a rundown. In 2017, I was sacked basically in the media, and that was right before Christmas, and that knocked the stuffing out of us. 2018, before Christmas, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. That fight went on in 2019 for the whole year. 2020, we got COVID. 2021, we're still living on COVID. I'm dying to get on with my life. Like, I am pulling my hair out. And it is amazing, these days, I think we're all friends are calling each other, actually, and we're venting. Like, I don't think blokes vented before. Tone, I'm not sure whether you did, but I'm not sure we called each other to vent. But that's been, a real release. And, it's funny, you see the same names popping up, and because they're calling you venting, I'm now calling them doing the same sort of thing. And again, I don't want to look back too much, because, eventually we're going to get out of this. But looking back on all those phone calls, we had the opportunity just to, swear, complain, give each other tips on how to get through, something to look forward to. We'll do this. Those phone calls have made a difference to a lot of blokes in my circle. Again, my circle of friends, the venting has been healthy.
Absolutely. But for people listening right now who might be struggling with opening up and taking that first step to being more open in their conversations with their mates and the people around them, what tips or what advice do you have for them?
I think you've got to be first. And when I say first, you don't call your mate and say, I've got a few problems. I think in today's world, if you call your mates and ask them how they're going, I think it becomes contagious. I think they'll ask you how you're going. And you know, if you've got your plan, you got your little points to make. I think your mates will keep an eye on you. You know, one of the great things I think about being Australian, and one of the great things that my father taught me was that, you know, no one gets left behind. That was the Anzacs motto, that no one gets left behind. And I truly believe it's in us all. You know, it's a place, Australia, where basically, you know, everyone gets a chance. You know, if you work hard enough, you'll get somewhere. You know, that's in our society. But I think men and women, I think deep down, no one gets left behind still. So if you do make those calls, I think this is where Talktober is a wonderful tool for this. You know, if you are down, sign up, because you'll start talking to people throughout the month of Talktober, and it'll come back in your direction, because you won't get left behind. Not in this country, not with the Anzac spirit.
What amazing advice. Be the first one to do it. Be that first person to open up and make that phone call. Amazing sound advice. Thank you so much, Mark, for your time and sharing what you're really thinking and feeling with us today.
An absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Well, there you go, Mark Allen having a chat to Maritza from Conscious Conversations for Talktober. I hope your Talktober is going well, and we'll be back again next Friday with another Friday session.